From City. Still joined in the studio by David James, by Paul Dickov and by Laura Bassett. I'm huffing and puffing because I don't want to have to start the show by talking about refereeing decisions, because I thought City were excellent in that first 45 minutes, particularly in the time before the red card. I want to just talk about the strength of the game and how good and competitive the game was. But sadly, again, we are here talking about the refereeing decisions. So it is the 38th minute and Alex Greenwood receives a second yellow card for time wasting, which results in her getting a red card and she is sent off. 7 yellow cards were given out in that first half, including Alex's first yellow card. 7 yellows and a red for a game that I don't think was feisty or dirty in any way. I'll go around all of the guests and get their opinion on what happened. I'll come to you last, Paul, for obvious reasons. David, what did you make of that red card situation?
Well, I think interesting because people quite often cry out for consistency amongst referees, which I think is wrong. I think the individual has to be consistent. Now, I don't know this individual referee well enough to know whether she's booked a lot of players for time wasting. There was a long period of time before the free kick was taken after it had been given. However, again, not knowing the consistency value, whether or not the logical thing for me would have been just some kind of warning. If the referee's aware, which she should have been, that Greenwood had already been booked, then it would have been in the game's best interest just to say, hurry up, otherwise I'm going to book you again. It just seemed that she booked her. I think that was a poor decision. Whether it ruins the game or not, Man City can still win this 1-0. It'll be a massive win given they're down to 10 players. But consistency has to be with that individual referee, not just referees across the board.
Laura as well, I think we were all a bit miffed when she got her first yellow card. We all thought that was it. The first one was a bit soft.
Yeah, like you said, 7 yellows already in this game and we're only at half time. I think if you look at game week number 1, there was a lot of yellows across the WSL. So I think the referees have been to all the clubs and said that they're going to crack down on dissent, which we've seen, obviously, Jill Ward just get the yellow card, obviously, for explaining her opinions, and physicality. Now, in some aspects, they're going to let the physicality go more, but then I thought Alex Greenwood's challenge was cheap and didn't really deserve a yellow card. So it is interesting that just across the board, as we start this WSL season, that we're seeing so many yellow cards. And again, it comes to the consistency piece. But yeah, I think that is disappointing. I think Alex Greenwood was trying to take the sting out of the game, change the momentum, let City get, breathers in their positions and maybe look to progress the ball up because they had been under pressure. But I agree, it has to be a warning from the referee or from the official on the assistant on the side. I just think to come out of nowhere, the yellow card for a sending off, I think that's a lot.
Can I just say, the other thing that really frustrates me as well is that they've said they're going to add on extra time for time wasting. So the punishment is longer extensions to the halves. But then she's done the booking. So you can't sort of say we're going to do one thing and do the other. That bit is just a rule, again, how the consistency of the individual. But yeah, frustrating.
I just don't see where the benefit to the game is. No. Paul?
How long we got?
Go, my friend. You've got about 12 minutes.
I just look from the first. I was a bit worried after about 5 minutes. I think Lauren James got booked for a silly little nudge just outside the box that we got the free kick for. Because I thought that's never a booking. And then when I seen Alex getting her first booking, the exact same. Neil said in the commentary that how soft it was, and then the send it off itself is a joke. I completely agree with Laura and JMO, especially JMO there when he said, at least give her a warning, show a little bit of common sense. We've got probably the 2 best teams in the WSL. Yeah. It's a massive day. It's live on TV. Everybody's covering it. Everybody's looking at it. Big crowd and everything else. Don't ruin the game, because it was a top game up until that point. We've not even spoke about the game yet. We're not going to have time. And the quality that we've seen from both teams. City started unbelievably well. Then Chelsea started getting a little bit of grip in the game, causing a lot of problems. And Alex, if anything, she's used her experience.
Yeah.
She knows Chelsea are getting on top. She's got. Just let's calm everything down a little bit here. But the referee's at least got to, to do a double whistle as if to say, come on, or just say to her, come on. She's ran 30 yards into the other half. and not even said anything to her, and then all of a sudden to sprint up to her and give her a second yellow. It's shambolic, you know. And we keep saying we don't want to talk about referees. The job's hard enough as it is, which it is, but don't make it harder for yourself by making stupid decisions like that.
Yeah.
And that was very politely put, by the way.
I'm very impressed. Well done. Well done. There's been a lot of talk about referees this week. It mentioned in both Emma and Gareth's press conference as well, going down to the fact of some of the decisions that happened in the opening weekend of the WSL as well. Some poor decisions that happened in the opening weekend, which has led to people talking about the refereeing standard and VAR and goal line technology all week. We were chatting before we came on, Laura, about the fact that the majority of these, or indeed it might be all, I'm not actually sure, the majority of referees in the WSL, they're not professional, they're not full-time, and it feels like the standard of the game is overtaking the standard of the officiating.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's certainly a lot of priorities in women's football. Before we talk about the technology side, you know, we need our officials to be full-time, to get that training, to get the feedback, to get the observations, you know, because these female athletes are so unbelievably quick, fit, you know, the amount of repeated sprints that they do throughout the game. We need our officials to be able to keep up with them and to give them the best opportunity to be in the best position to make the decision, the correct decision. They've got to be full-time too. They've got to be doing the right training, not doing a 9-to-5 job and then going out and doing training, or then doing the observation, then speaking to mentors. And, you know, we have to give them the best opportunity too.
I think the sad thing is, we've just said before, two quality teams, 45, 48 minutes of top-level football, and we're sitting here talking about this.
Shall we? Is there anything else you want to say, and then we'll?
Well, just on a positive note for referees. I mean, I've sponsored 10 referees in Lancashire FA last year to get them on the first level, because one of the problems you have, the numbers just aren't there to go on. So the women's game is going to get popular. It's going to get faster and quicker and better. It still takes time to produce referees, and I can't blame this individual referee simply because I don't know her well enough. And the other problem that they also have is that when the FAs are changing the way that they've been asked to referee games, naturally they're going to do something which doesn't naturally feel right to them. So as long as City win, it's an excusable misjudgment of error.
Yeah, hopefully they use this now as a rallying, fighting call.
And VAR isn't always the answer. Just look at VAR recently. So.
Oh, absolutely, yes, it very much isn't. We don't want to just keep labouring the point about that red card, like Paul said, because of how good the first half was. So let's move on for a minute and just appreciate how good the first half was. I mean, in particular, City came out the traps quick, Paul. I mean, within the first 5 or 10 minutes, we were already like, wow, like we're here for this today.
They were the intensity they showed in the first 20-25 minutes. Chelsea couldn't live with it. Not just with the ball, but I thought picking up second balls, Neil mentioned it a lot in the commentary, not letting Chelsea, when they lost the ball, really pressing them up high to win the ball back high in high areas. And I thought Chloe Kelly, Lauren Hemp, Mary Fowler especially, was fantastic in that first 20. But you've got to give Chelsea a lot of credit. You know, they showed their experience. There's a reason why they've just won four leagues in a row, and they're probably favourites again this year, because they weathered the storm, slowly but surely they started getting a grip in the game and actually imposing their style onto Man City rather than Man City imposing how we play on them for the first 25 minutes. So you've got to give them credit, but I thought the quality and the standard of football from both teams was outstanding.
Yeah, the link up, the movement around the box for City's goal as well. So Chloe Kelly with the strike, but of course you mentioned Mary Fowler and Lauren Hemp. Just the movement in the box I just thought was lovely. But Chloe's finish, Laura. Yeah,
it's great to see her in central areas, isn't it? I've seen a lot of rotation. There were, if they ended up on different sides, they were able to stay there and have a go at their defender. But to see Chloe Kelly central, we know she's got she's a great set piece taker, isn't she? She's got a fierce strike. But there was only one thing in her mind to get on the half turn. It did take a deflection with Jess Carter getting her leg so high. But that's what you need in these big games, test the keepers, especially with Musovic making a mistake last week. It was pretty central, the strike, but with the amount of power that it had on it, Chloe Kelly would have been chuffed with that one.
Yeah, we'll give all the credit to Chloe and the power of it. But in terms of the keeper, do you think the Chelsea keeper should have done better, or are we just give Chloe all the plaudits?
No, I mean, I don't know how much Chloe sort of looked at the environment, but the sun would have been directly behind the ball, I think, as it went past the keeper. The deflection would have aided that for sure. So you give Chloe credit, because I used playing games and think, right, sun's that way. If I kick it that way, defender can't head it, or he's going to find it very difficult. It was pacey. There was a dip over as well. It wasn't like a straight into the top of the net. It's gone over the keeper. So Chloe gets all the credit on this one. And it was a nice little dummy to start with as well. She got in the middle, fakes to the right, then smash.
Yeah. Let's give some credit to the keeper at the other end as well.
Ooh, go on.
Go on, yes. Keaton made a lovely save to stop Chelsea in the middle of the half.
Yeah. It was an awkward save as well, because it was headed straight down and she's sort of bent down onto her knees and cleared it. She's on for 2 clean sheets in her first 2 games, which is a third of all the clean sheets that City got last season in the league. So it's a good start. And the one thing I was saying to Laura, her distribution is lovely.
Yeah.
She kicks really well, left foot and right foot. Improvement on what I'd seen her do in previous seasons. So at the moment, I think, again, being a player down, providing they go in that change room and just say, look, we can control this game. Right at the end there was a nice little bit of passing and pattern of play, kept the ball. With Chiara in top form in goal, bit of passing up front. Bring on Bunny, game over.
I mean, talking about that, of course, City down to 10 men. It's Greenwood that's gone off, Paul. We did well to hold out there, I think, for 7 or 8 minutes to get to half-time to give them a chance to regroup. Are you expecting any changes at half-time?
Maybe not at the minute. David's right there about Bunny coming on. At some point, City are going to have to retain possession, against 10 against 11. And, one thing Bunny does really, really well is hold the ball up and attract players to her, then bring others into the game as well. But then, at the same time, down the middle, even though we've got Lauren Hemp with the pace, sometimes they might have to go a little bit longer than behind. They tried to do it a couple of times in the first half, but with the 10 men sitting in there, I think Lauren Hemp's pace down the sides, just to get a little bit of breather, because there's no doubt I think Chelsea are going to come out and dominate.
Oh, and the teams are coming out there. We were chatting so much there that the 15-minute half-time absolutely flew by there. So the teams are coming back out. Get your second half commentary on the Manchester City app now. Paul, Laura and David and I will all be back at full-time, where, honestly, I've got everything crossed that we're talking about an excellent 45 minutes of football and nothing else. Right, City lead 1-0. Come on, Blues, we've got that fighting spirit. We'll see you at full time.
Yes, let's hope that things kind of stay the same, whether they can make sure that they can maintain this lead, go on, dig in for victory. And Chelsea are going to make some changes at half.